Hey guys, it's Sarah and Adam here. Welcome back to my channel. You guys really liked the cook with us a week of dinners, so we are doing it again. I did want to cut in before we get into the recipes and just kind of like preface this. If you saw part one, then you will have already known what the recipes were, but part one's recipes were much healthier than this part. Last time we did it basically all in 1 week, a week straight of our recipes, but a lot of those are just things that we eat a lot, so we've repeated a bunch of those through the past couple of weeks, and this video was filmed over a 2-week period. So not all of them are as healthy as round one. If you missed the first video, I will link it up here in the cards for you, and let's get into it. What are we making tonight?
We're making, I don't know, Asian ground chicken, Asian lettuce wraps.
Yeah, chicken lettuce wraps.
Right.
Yeah. We have ground chicken, and then I don't even know what goes with them. We couldn't find butter lettuce, so we ended up switching it out for Boston lettuce. But yeah, we will show you the entire recipe. It is delicious. I'm gonna start out by making the peanut sauce. It is super easy. And then Adam's gonna do the rest of the filling with the chicken and stuff. But I will link the recipe down below for you guys. This is such an easy dish because you really can make it in the one skillet besides the peanut sauce. So you basically just throw everything in a skillet and cook it. It is super duper simple. This is the finished dinner. So I just put all the leaves washed and spinned, and they're in this bowl so then we can just store them easily. We just left the skillet with all of the meat. And then this I threw into a Tupperware so that I could clean the rest of it. So this is like the easiest possible cleanup situation and storage situation. I don't know if I said this in the last clip or not, but this is not gonna happen in consecutive days like the last video was. It's basically just gonna be anytime we make a recipe that is newer, that we haven't shown you guys, or that's, I don't know, something worth showing, then we will share it. So tonight's recipe is
Chicken shawarma.
Yeah. So we actually were just on a walk and we were trying to decide if chicken shawarma is popular or not. It's Mediterranean, and Mediterranean food here is really, really popular, but I think it's kind of regional, like its popularity is. So anyway, we love it, and we'll show you everything that goes in it.
Yeah.
All right, we actually mixed up the seasoning and then just put it in an old seasoning container. So I will link the recipe down below per usual so that you can see what the recipe actually calls for. And we're hoping that we have enough in here for tonight, but it's pitas and then a garlic spread, which you can make garlic spread. We go to Kroger and they actually sell a garlic spread that works perfectly. Pickles, lettuce, you can add tomato, but neither of us like tomato pieces, and then the chicken and onion. The longest part about this entire meal is the chicken. You just have to chop it and then season it, and then also chop and season the onions and bake them for 30 minutes. Besides that, the rest of the meal goes by really, really quickly. We didn't make the full recipe. Obviously, it's just the two of us. So we only made 2 chicken breasts, and the recipe calls for, I think, 8. So just keep that in mind, and then you can use the amount of seasoning that you need based on how much chicken you have. The chicken is done, so I'm gonna show you guys assembling the pita. You can either just put the stuff on there and then roll it up. I like to, this is what the place local to us does, is they actually open up the pita. It's easier to do if the pitas are really, really fresh. Like these are a couple days old, so they're not as soft, but you can still do it. And then this is the garlic spread that we use. It's just at Kroger in like the deli section. This is the chicken and onions. The seasoning kind of almost gives it like a yellow tint. And then we just do romaine lettuce. And I put pickles on mine. Adam does not like pickles. All right, and then you can just roll it up. So that is it. It's pretty easy. The longest part is waiting for the chicken to cook, which takes about 30 minutes. But other than that, it's super easy to put them together. Good morning, guys. Today we are making berry French toast with it's stuffed. So that is what we're gonna do. Apparently I can't call it the right thing, so that is what we're calling it. It's a dupe for a recipe that I really like at a Detroit restaurant called Hudson Cafe. They have this like berry French toast, so we're gonna try and recreate it today. Here, I'm starting to make the berry compote. We used strawberries, blackberries, and raspberries, and you just let this sit on the stove, get nice and warm and soft, so you kind of muddle all of the fruit together, and it creates the most delicious compote that you put on top of the French toast. So that is a little bit time consuming, but you can really just let it sit. I was messing around with it a lot, but you don't have to do that. And then Adam was making the cream cheese frosting, which goes in between the sandwich layers, which you will see in a minute. All right, the only way to do this is to put everything up here. So we've got the little sandwiches, the dip, and then the pan and the compote. This is the bread that we used. It should be on the other side.
No. That didn't work. Sorry, people.
All right, this is the finished breakfast. Are you happy with your creation?
Yep. And like Sarah said, we tried to remake the one at Hudson Cafe in Detroit. So this one's a little bit different than the recipe. The recipe calls for cherries and strawberries. We've used strawberries, raspberries, and blackberries, and in the center we put banana.
That's the only differences?
Yeah.
All right, friends. Today is the day that I'm having my mac and cheese after doing 75 hard. I have been craving this mac and cheese from a restaurant, and we're gonna try and recreate it.
Should work out.
Yeah.
It's a process.
So we don't have an actual recipe for it. We have a recipe for
mac and cheese.
Yeah.
And for to roast the red pepper, but there's not much of a recipe to that. Everything else we're kind of assembling and doing on our own.
Yeah, so it's mac and cheese, and it has like a Ritz cracker crumb
and cheddar crust.
Yeah, and then there's like the fried onion strings on top. There's steak on top. There's mushroom shallots, red peppers. We'll see how this goes. What's that for?
It's out by accident.
Oh, okay, well, never mind. Anyway, if this works out and it's delicious, I will have Adam type up a little recipe and I will put it down below. And then we will link the mac and cheese and the red pepper recipe that we found online. We were looking for cavatappi, but we couldn't find it, so we ended up with this, which is the most similar thing we could find at our grocery store.
Sound time.
I did want to note that although we did make the entire box of pasta, we only used about half of it in the dish that we made. So here we are making the cheese sauce, and then I put about half the pasta in there, and we still felt like it could serve 4 to 6 people. So keep that in mind when you're making it. It definitely makes a lot, but if you use the entire box of pasta, there won't be enough cheese sauce in the recipe that we shared to go around. This definitely is the dish that had the most steps and was just the most time consuming, and there were just a lot of things going on because we had to cook the steak, the pasta, make the cheese sauce, and then also saute the mushrooms, roast the peppers. There's a lot of steps in it, but it was really good. All right, it's out of the oven. And then the last step is to put the fried onions on top. This is the finished product. It does not look as pretty as I'm hoping it's going to taste. It was delicious, but very, very filling.
Yeah, I mean, it will easily feed 4 to 6 people.
Yeah. Yeah, so, and plus we had the steak on top, so that obviously adds more to it. So very good. I will have Adam type up a recipe. Tonight on the Adam and Sarah cooking show, we are making teriyaki chicken, fried rice, and sriracha, honey sriracha Brussels sprouts. I don't think that we've made this in a vlog before. Maybe. I don't think so though. We just got back from a walk, and before that Adam made the rice. You want it to be nice and chilled, so we already made that. And he's pulling out all of the other products we need. So generally speaking, he makes the teriyaki chicken and then I make the Brussels sprouts and fried rice because I don't deal with the meat. You guys already know that. Once Adam was done with the teriyaki sauce here, I started chopping up some vegetables. I was first chopping the Brussels sprouts, and then as soon as those were done and I threw them in the oven, I started chopping the broccoli. We bought shredded carrots and then chopped the onion for the fried rice. And it's just a lot of prep, but then after you start making it, it goes by really quickly. As far as making the rice, it is fast paced, so I did find that if you measure things out and set them to the side, it's much easier than if you're trying to measure it in the moment, because you are working at high heat and you don't want anything to burn. So after the vegetables are done and you're throwing the rice in and everything else, it's just much easier to have things measured out so you're ready to go. This is the finished meal. I don't think that we showed you cooking the Brussels sprouts, but I will link it down below. It's really hard to show this many things when they're all going on at the same time, but this is dinner. All right, it has been quite a few days since we filmed our last dinner.
Tonight we're kind of having an appetizer for dinner. We're gonna do mini beef Wellingtons, so it's not the difficulty of a true beef Wellington, but a lot of the same taste. The recipe that Sarah will share is a larger recipe. We're gonna make half of it tonight and go through that with you. Have a side of some broccoli and rice. Pretty simple dinner. But
we're having rice and pastry.
You don't have to.
Okay, I probably won't. I've never had beef Wellington, but isn't it Gordon Ramsay's like signature dish?
Traditional beef Wellington is, yes.
Oh, okay. Well, Chef Adam is gonna take us through the recipe tonight.
I've already gone ahead and used a paper towel to pat dry the meat. If as long as it's dry, then you'll get a better sear. And I'm just going to season it generously with salt and pepper. That'll help also with the sear, also with your flavor. I've been preheating the skillet, so it's been on high for about 5 minutes. You want to get this extremely hot. Add a little bit of oil to the pan. You're going to add the meat and sear it on 2 different sides. About 4 minutes total.
fresh out of the oven. All right, this is the finished product. I'll cut into one and show you guys what it looks like on the inside once we sit down and eat. This is what the inside of it looks like. All right, it has been quite a few days since we filmed the last meal, but today we're doing the last meal for this video and we are doing Swedish meatballs. This is a meal that my mom passed the recipe down to me, and we make them with turkey meatballs. So I will show you guys how to do it. And since I don't have the recipe, it's not from a website, I'll just type it out for you guys down below. We did use turkey instead of the ground beef that the recipe calls for. We usually swap out turkey because I don't like ground beef personally, and I just mix them all together and then I kind of separate the chunks so that they're as even as possible and then roll them into the actual meatballs, and we throw them into the skillet, cook them, and then I wash the dish. You don't have to, but I just feel like I get better results if I wash the dish in between. And then I started making the sauce, and you just make it until it starts simmering and thickens, add the meatballs back, and then serve it over egg noodles. All right, this is the finished product. We just put some egg noodles in here. We get the extra wide egg noodles, and then meatballs, and put a little bit of the extra sauce in there so that it's coating the pasta. Alrighty guys, I hope that you enjoyed round 2 of our Cook With Us videos. I will link the first one we did down below if you're interested in it. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not already so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Bye guys.